Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about the energies coming in for 2021. If you follow me on social media, you know I've been meaning to do this video for a couple of weeks now. I've just been extremely busy, but as usual. But anyway, so here I am. I'm going to talk about 2021, the astrology, and there's quite a few things. I'm going to go into, I did a video recently with Healing Doorways, Alicia from Healing Doorways. Shout out to her, really lovely person. She asked me to come onto her channel and talk about 2021. I did touch on a few things there. I want to go a little bit deeper for this video and talk about some of the nuances and energies coming up. So firstly, what you need to know, and you might want to grab a pen if you want to write down these details if you're not someone who already follows the astrology. Jupiter is moving into Aquarius on December 20th this year, 2020, and Saturn will actually move into Aquarius just before that on the 18th of December. So it's a big shift with those two planets moving out of Capricorn, first of all, which was a very heavy energy, and a big energy of change for society. Obviously, as we all know, we went through 2020 with a lot of heavy energy there. Things are shifting into a lighter energy. Aquarius energy is all about the mind. It's about the thinking. It's about the vision that you hold for your life. That's the key word that I keep getting, is the word vision. The last time in recent history that Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct was in the year 2000, when we had the millennium, the Y2K shift with regards to technology happening. There was this fear that all technology, like computers, were going to reset themselves. And it's interesting because I think it was more symbolic, this idea of a reset. It's kind of, you know, that's coming in again. So, but not saying that particular manifestation, but just the energy or this idea of a reset. So what we're going to see moving forward is a shift out of the heaviness of Capricorn, when Jupiter was in full in Capricorn, okay, into a much lighter energy, as I said, a cerebral energy, a energy of what is the truth in a higher vibrational sense, in a bigger picture sense, okay? What is the truth for ourselves as individuals? What do we as individuals really want that's authentic, that's more authentic? Because think about it, Aquarius is an energy that is uncompromising in its individuality. It's uncompromising in its uniqueness. And so with Jupiter wanting to expand that unique energy on a personal level, we may find that we now want to really pursue our own path in a way that feels less tied to strictly living a material life, because Jupiter in Capricorn in fall had us all really bound to our material world in some way, you know, and it's going to be different for everybody. But now I'm not saying negate the material world, that's not what I mean. It's more of, okay, what feels on a spiritual level more authentic for me moving forward, and realizing that you cannot be tied down to the material side of life completely without acknowledging your spirit, your soul, your heart, your needs, you know, on other levels. So of course we have to fulfill our practical needs and our material needs to survive. Obviously that's logical, but we also have another part of ourselves that's going to be coming into focus with Jupiter moving into Aquarius, which is that part of ourselves that is wanting to feel liberated, is wanting to feel expressive and creative and tapped into what the soul urge is, what the soul need is, okay? So that's another aspect of Jupiter moving into Aquarius. Jupiter in fall in Capricorn in 2020 was a suppressive energy on the individual spirit. It was an energy of work really hard, survival issues, you know, material concerns, monetary concerns, financial and economic. Obviously we saw everything like that going on with COVID, how it affected people's jobs. You know, Jupiter in fall in Capricorn can't grow as efficiently and as effectively as it can in other signs, being that obviously, as I said, it's in fall in Capricorn. So moving into Jupiter in Aquarius, if you're somebody on a personal level that's always wanted to be an entrepreneur, have your own business, do your own thing, you're going to feel that surge and that energy much more as Jupiter goes into Aquarius. Now, because Saturn's also going to be in Aquarius, you're going to want to see how that desire for your individual freedom of expression in your own life can actually fit with your reality. So it's not going to be like these pipe dreams of, oh, I really want this, but or I want to pursue this path, but there's no way it matches up with my reality. It's working it into your reality so that it can work for you. Okay, so that's very exciting. And there's a lot of potential in this time for people to come into more their own individual selves in a more authentic, expressive way. And in terms of your, you know, your own business or doing a job that feels more authentically aligned to your personality. If there was a time when, you know, you've been wanting that for years, oh, I really am tired of working in the corporate sphere or working in these kind of jobs that just don't allow me to feel who I really am, then this time period, this next year is a time where you can actually use that vision, that inspiration that you have for a new path, and actually apply it to your reality and take the action steps. Now, you will need patience with it because of the Jupiter Saturn conjunction. Okay, so the Jupiter Saturn conjunction, you may want to go really fast into things, you may feel full of inspiration, but it can be a bit slow, it can be a bit gradual with the change, but it's more the matter of making it real. And even Aquarius is a sign that is co-ruled by Saturn. So Saturn rules Capricorn, and also, you know, traditionally rules also Aquarius. So that does ask us to look at our vision for our lives and see how it can actually work slowly and step by step. It doesn't have to be that your vision is implemented all this year. It's like you may start it this year and feel the inspiration as you take steps on your path. Yeah, that's more on a personal level, which is interesting. Now, just one thing that is important to note is that even though Jupiter is moving into Aquarius, it will actually briefly enter Pisces from May 14th, 2021 through to July 28th, 2021. So it will only go into the first 2 degrees of Pisces, but Jupiter is very well placed in Pisces because Jupiter rules Sagittarius and co-rules Pisces. So this is going to be a very inspirational energy for humanity. It is going to possibly open up travel again, because Pisces and Jupiter can relate to long distance travel. So there could be, you know, an opening up of borders, an opening up of you know, borders between countries between May 14th and July 28th, or some kind of hope for change then. But I do feel overall there could still be a lot of restrictions on travel, possibly on and off this year as well. So also with Jupiter and Aquarius, we'll see social media shifts and changes, especially with Saturn and Jupiter conjunct in Aquarius. There will be, I'm feeling there will be, this is just my own intuitive prediction, that something like, you know, how Instagram came out and everyone's on Instagram, it's going to be something like that, where there's some new social media that begins this year, or begins when the Saturn Jupiter conjunction happens. And it may not take off or be well known until later on, but it will start between December 2020 and to the end of at some point during 2021. So there's going to be some, I feel, some kind of new social media platform that will become the next popular thing. It's something different, something new that we haven't seen yet. That's what I'm feeling with that. Let's see what else. The other thing that's happening this year is the Saturn square Uranus transit. So it's interesting because this energy has happened before. It happened in 1999 to 2000. Actually, that was the influence of the Y2K scare, if you remember, if you're around in those years, and also the new millennium energy. But it was reversed. It was Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus is the current energy, and it previously was the reverse of those two. Okay, so that did occur in 1999 to 2000, and so this year we've got this again, and this energy is quite strong in February. Saturn and Uranus in a square aspect will indicate some kind of desire for change with the individual, because Uranus in Taurus will represent the individual and the reality that we're dealing with. Now, Uranus is in fall in Taurus still, so it can be that there's a bit of a struggle between what the people want, what the individual wants, versus what the government is wanting. And there could also be clashes again, like we've seen in 2020 with protests and things like that. That kind of energy of people wanting to be able to have their rights, of course, which is normal and what we're used to in the West, you know, clashing with the authorities in some way. So this energy is going to be present throughout all of 2021, the Saturn Uranus square, and it could cause some dynamic friction, some challenging energy of adjustments, trying to move forward into a new energy. Coming into Jupiter in Aquarius and Saturn in Aquarius is going to be very important for one's mindset, because it's to do with the mental realm, the higher mental plane, and your thinking, your beliefs, your philosophy, your ideology. And we're going to see a lot of that in society, like what is the ideal, what is, you know, what is best for the people, what is ideal moving forward, and a lot of changes with technology as well, we'll see. But on a personal level, your thoughts, your thinking, the way you perceive your life, you know, are you an optimistic person? Do you try to challenge your old beliefs? And that's going to be very important, because Jupiter in Aquarius is a new energy. It's representing moving forward with a vision for your life, as I said before. So we are all going to be challenged to look at how we're thinking, and is our thinking serving us in our individual lives, and is our thinking allowing us to be open to the new that wants to come into our life, albeit slowly because of the Jupiter Saturn conjunction. But it is coming, a new energy is coming in, and the way one thinks and the way one sees the world around you, that's going to be very important this year. You know, if you fall into a lot of negative thinking or negative thoughts, this year is really the time to challenge that, and even look at changing the dynamics of your neural pathways. You know, looking at how can I incorporate new, more positive thoughts, and not overly idealistic and unrealistic because of Saturn in Aquarius, but more thoughts that can actually help you to implement a better way of life that will give you more freedom and liberation and more authenticity in your life. The signs that are really going to have a lot of change this year, like huge change in your life, are going to be Aquarius. So Aquarius Sun, Moon, Rising in particular. You guys are going to have huge changes with Jupiter and Saturn both in your sign at the same time. It's going to be a realigning of your path onto a more authentic path over the next 12 months. Anyone that's early born Pisces or has very early degree Pisces, you'll find that there's some kind of boost to your path in May, between May and July this year as well, when Jupiter enters Pisces for a brief time. So there will be some structural changes to things like laws governing the people in some way. I do feel the government will try to push things forward quickly, maybe even bypassing the people's opinion, so that we do need to be very aware of these things if they're trying to push through things that are not good for the people, but they kind of have some kind of ideology connected to it, or some view of this almost overly idealistic picture. There always has to be a reality check with this year with the idealism, because of Saturn in Aquarius with Jupiter. So Jupiter is not completely free in Aquarius. If it was on its own and Saturn wasn't attached to it in terms of the transits, it would be more free and liberated. But because Saturn is, you know, following there very closely, and also conjunct from December through to early 2021, very closely conjunct, it's like Saturn is checking in on Jupiter in Aquarius to make sure it's not going too crazy, to make sure it's not going too out there and too far. So again, as I said, personally, you want to check with your own vision to see if it's applicable to your reality, but it's about having balance there. It's not about saying, oh, that's too idealistic, I can't do that at all. It might be saying, well, let me try and see if I can make this work in my reality and take some steps forward. So yeah, new advances in technology on a collective level will be happening, and there will be things like the government planning certain things behind the scenes and trying to, you know, propose these new things for society. There may be sudden new structures going up that are sort of eco-based or conservative about, you know, the way we manage resources within the structures within the earth itself. So there might be things popping up like a lot of new buildings, for example, but they take into account some kind of ecological aspect. So like, you know, if you've heard of things like green apartments, where they're huge apartment buildings, but they have all these like greenery around them, or lots of plants that they are part of, you know, this nature kind of part of not technology, part of the advancement of infrastructure. So there might be something where we see more of this kind of thing of new buildings, new infrastructure in society around us that takes into account cleaner energy, you know, things like that, where it's technology, but it's also factoring in nature and resources as well, because of Uranus in Taurus and because of Saturn in Aquarius. So we might see a lot more new structures in the infrastructure in cities especially. And I'm just thinking what else. That was the main stuff that I had. But whatever you're wanting to implement in your life this year, if it's something new for yourself that is based on a vision, just do, I would say, move forward with it, but be realistic about it, and, you know, go step by step with it, because there is definitely the opportunity for a lot of growth based on ideas, based on thinking, because Jupiter is expanding the mind. Telepathy will increase this year. So, and when I say telepathy will increase this year, I just mean on an individual level. If you're someone that's psychic or if you're intuitive, you will find that you may have more telepathic experiences. You may have more clairaudience, okay, because it's the mind waves and the Aquarian waves. So you may find that things like you already have this kind of thing where you think of a person, they ring you, it might be more frequent. So you can really tap into this year, this feeling of, or this ability to enhance your psychic gifts on the mental level. Telepathy, remote viewing, clairaudience, those kind of things. So that, I feel, will very much be a new energy that's very activating this year. There may be things that even happen with technology that are related to paranormal activity, related to telepathic psychic advancement, even as in understanding psychic things using technology. That could be something else that we see potentially as well. All right, guys, so I just wanted to run through those things. Have a great year. Definitely the energy will be much lighter this year overall. It's a very dynamic energy though, with the Uranus-Saturn square. And what else? It's definitely not going to be as heavy as 2020. There's still obviously always going to be issues in terms of the collective, in terms of governments and things like that. And there may be some issues still going on with restrictions, the coronavirus stuff, all that. But I do feel that that is phasing out this year at some point, in 2021 that is. And, you know, there is definitely an energy of people realizing that, hey, you know, we can actually work from home successfully, so why don't we set up our own online business? You know, things like more people realizing that they can maximize the opportunity of online. Even though we're already doing that, I feel like it's going to a whole nother level with that in different ways, and more people opening up their own small businesses online. That's what I also feel. All right, guys, have a great year. Thank you so much. Bye for now.